Hi, this is Simon Phillips. Welcome to another edition of Networking Not Working here live on Facebook, Google, YouTube, and wherever else you may be all over the world. And welcome to those of you who are able to join us from Australia and Saudi Arabia. And where else? We had some messages this week. We've had a few of you from America. So it's been great to hear from you. Keep sending in your questions, keep sending in the things you'd like to hear about, and that's what we're here to talk about. Today's episode is really all about the tools for the job, the online tools that will help you get set up and start building fantastic networks online as well as offline. The key, though, as we look at this activity, is to not think of this as being very different from what you're doing at live events or at parties or other meetings that you attend. Really, the online opportunities are just the same. It's about building relationships, it's about making connections, it's about helping people. So all of the things that we've learned already, we're now just going to look at how we can get the great tools like LinkedIn, Facebook, Google+, and Twitter set up so that we can start to enjoy the same success online that we're having offline. So let's get started. We're going to look at what I call relationship facilitators. That's all that the online tools are. They're there to help you build relationships. However, I think what's really interesting is the way that people are starting to transform not just their networking, but their marketing, their business planning, their business relationships, their strategic thinking, their communication campaigns. Just about every aspect associated with business can now be not just enhanced, but actually done online. And we're not going to get into too much detail about all of that today, but I just wanted to raise that up front as the real opportunity behind all of this. So let's start with LinkedIn. Probably the one that most people think of when they're thinking about building business networks. And in fact, it's a fantastic tool for that. I was fortunate enough to interview a number of people who've written about LinkedIn and in fact who consult major organizations on how to get the best out of LinkedIn. So people like the LinkedIn man, James Potter, Linda Parkinson Hardman, who's a great author, fantastic little book about how to get the best out of LinkedIn. Jan Vermeeren and Bert Verdonk, two guys who've probably had more people read their books about LinkedIn than anybody else. What was really, really interesting, despite all of their expertise and understanding and the numbers of people that they've helped get learn how to use LinkedIn effectively, I'll get the words out eventually. Despite all of that, every single one of them said it starts with the basics. Get your profile right. Get a great picture. It doesn't matter even if you're as ugly as me, you can still have a head and shoulders shot, and it needs to be recognizable. So not so small that nobody can see who it is, and not so close, if you like, that all they can see is that fabulous nose that you have. You really want just a straightforward head and shoulders pic that basically even somebody who doesn't know you very well would instantly recognize you. That's what you're aiming for with your profile pic. And the headline, it needs to grab people's attention. So think about that. Just saying Simon Phillips, structural engineer, is not really going to help anybody understand who you are or how particularly to differentiate you from the millions of other people that they can see and find online through LinkedIn. So think about your headline, make it attention grabbing and very descriptive. And don't be afraid to include some random things in there. So for example, if you look at mine, it will say rhubarb lover in there, which not many people have in their headlines, but I do. I love rhubarb, and that's one of the most important things that you need to know about me. So if we're going to build a relationship, then send me your rhubarb recipes, and even better, send me your rhubarb concoctions through the post, and I'll enjoy all of them. So, but that's important, and it's just a way of breaking the ice. So think of your headline as a way of breaking the ice with someone. And then think about putting together a very concise description. Don't think of your LinkedIn profile as just your CV. Absolutely, it needs to have all the important details of your career in there. But we used to have a rule when we were doing online networking through the Academy portal. We used to have a rule that said 50-50. So 50% of your description would be the business aspects of your life, and 50% would be personal information, things that you were quite happy to share, and just enabled other people to engage with you very quickly. So it may not need to be 50-50 all the time. And in fact, I usually now advise people to think about an 80-20 rule, where 80% is about your business and your activities and the things that you've achieved, and 20% still gives people that bit of personal insight and some reasons why they might want to get to know you. So give that some thought, think about your description, make it as conversational as you possibly can without being unprofessional. That's a sort of a rough guideline. So you want to be letting people get some insights as to who you are as an individual, as well as the achievements and the jobs that you've held over the years. And the reason for that is because you want people to be able to get to know you or have a feel for you as an individual very quickly. There are, as we've said already, millions of people on LinkedIn, and regardless of what search criteria people put in now on LinkedIn, they are going to be presented with hundreds at least of people that fit the criteria that they're searching for. So you want to stand out, and the best way to stand out is give the sense that they are meeting you in real life. So you wouldn't introduce yourself to somebody and then give them a 15-minute description of every aspect of your career, starting with your very first job as an 11-year-old running around the streets delivering newspapers. So don't do that on LinkedIn either. Think about how you're presenting yourself. Think about the other person, the person who's you're effectively virtually meeting through this great tool called LinkedIn. So there's the basics. Be human, and just get a profile up there as quickly as possible that really represents you as an individual. From there, you want to branch out almost immediately into the groups, and the groups are the best place to be interacting and networking. Now, some people, when they first encounter LinkedIn, think that they need to join all the groups that are associated with their profession. I know that James Potter talks a lot about the thousands of groups that there are for accountants, which are just filled with accountants. Now, that's great, excuse me, if you just want to network with your peers and pick up great ideas and things that they're doing, and ideas on how to build your business. But if you actually want to build new relationships, potentially demonstrate your expertise in front of potential clients, then you don't want to be joining those groups. Get into groups that are more local, potentially to you, if your business is related to your local economy. If it's a national business that you're running, think about some groups where your profession is prominent in the supply chain. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say you are a digital photographer, then you want to be in groups which are talking about weddings, for example, or groups that are talking about advertising and social media, where your skills are part of the solution that those people are looking to develop. Huh, look at that. Talking about photography, and we end up saying the word develop. Anyway, So think about the groups that you're joining, and think about a group within LinkedIn as a group at a live networking event. So you're standing at the door as you're just about to click on the group name. You click on the name, walk through the door, think of that group as a live group at an event. And all of a sudden your mind shifts in terms of the way you're interacting within that room. So you walk into the room, you say hello to a few people, maybe some people you haven't met before, and you can introduce yourself and just say, hi, I've just joined this group. It's fantastic to meet you. I look forward to hearing from you and networking with you over the coming months. So there's just quick introductions you can do randomly around the group, and then look at what people are saying, look what they're talking about, look for conversations where you can add some value, or where you can ask a really meaningful question. So look for things that interest you, follow your interests initially, just to get a feel for what that group likes to discuss, and the things that they're going to, the hooks, if you like, that are going to allow you to engage with them. And also you're looking at, as we've said, week in and week out, you're looking for opportunities to help the people in those groups, because that's how you start to form great networking relationships. So you're in the groups, you're answering questions, you're asking questions, you're demonstrating your expertise, but not in a way that is broadcasting or selling. You're literally being helpful. And over time, you will be the person that the group starts to think about when they need that photographer for their events. Okay, so that's the groups. A little tip from Bert Verdonk. What he said was, what he often does, if he's in a group and somebody's asked a great question which he doesn't know the answer to, but he knows that there's probably someone in his network that will know the answer, he'll copy and paste or share that item in his own timeline and link them back to that conversation in the group. So effectively, he's creating a win-win scenario for everybody involved in that mini conversation. So the individual who asked the question will think Bert's great for identifying someone in his network who can help. The individual in Bert's network that can help suddenly thinks that Bert's a great person for giving him that nice warm lead for their business. So that's a little tip from Bert Verdonk that I think is indicative, if you like, of the way you want to think about those groups. No different to being at a live event and saying, oh, I think I might know someone who can help. Let me send an email out later and see if there's anybody that can get back to you. So that's it really with regard to the basics and joining groups on LinkedIn. Thereafter, you want to be thinking about enhancing your profile. Are there any videos that you consistently show at the events that you're involved in, or the people that you like to share within your business? Are there some slides that whenever you've been asked to talk about your business, you consistently show? Put them up on your profile, share, and give people a reason for want to come back, and also a quick understanding of your own expertise. Quite often I encounter people that are a little bit reluctant to share what they consider to be their intellectual property. But the reality is, in most business environments, there's not much that's that new these days. So by sharing, you are differentiating yourself, again, from the majority of people who tend to hold things to themselves. You're networking, you're building relationships, so get out there and demonstrate your expertise. If you get good testimonials in, whether offline or online, always ask that individual if they'd be happy to post the same thing on your profile. Testimonials are a fantastic mechanism for demonstrating your authority, demonstrating your expertise, and even better if they say nice things about you and your character and your willingness to be involved and support them, whether it's with a business outcome or not. Again, you're looking to build relationships with people who value you as an individual, and the best way to do that is to really value them as individuals, not just people who are adding numbers to your sales pipeline or any other sort of conventional business activity. So think about the person, and you won't go far wrong on LinkedIn either. Okay. Loads more we can talk about on LinkedIn, and we'll get back to that at a later date. But that's just to hopefully give you the confidence that if you don't have all those basics in place, to get those done and start interacting with people, engaging with people in great conversations, and you'll find your network starts to grow almost effortlessly. Okay. Thinking about effortless networking, I'm going to talk very briefly about Facebook. The biggest concern people have about Facebook is their security and what information they're sharing. But the reality is you can close that down quite quickly if you choose to. So personally, I choose not to share pictures of my children with everybody. So the people I share pictures of my children with on Facebook are people who already know my children or have already visited and know them personally, rather than just my acquaintances and people I have in my network. So so I just have a very quick category for that, which you can set up as you're setting up your profile, or you can go into your friends setting and add new groups. And the key though is to remember to put people into those categories as you develop your networks. So personally, I choose to share most things that I'm sharing on Facebook with the public. And the reason for that is because there'll probably be search engines and activities going on where people will be able to find the information that they want if they really want to anyway. So I don't really worry about that sort of stuff. But also, I don't differentiate between the way I act on LinkedIn and Facebook and Google Plus and Twitter and the way I am 24 hours a day. So I do know people who almost like try to create personas in these different environments. And actually, that's a lot of hard work. So just be yourself, and then you can effectively engage people from all over the world in any conversations that you wish, because you're just being you. So a great example of that is some people that have recently joined the NetworkingNotWorking group on Facebook. You know, people I've never met, but I've already started having conversations with them, and who knows where those network connections will go. Certainly, I'm looking forward to engaging with you know, all of you, and seeing if there's anything I can do to support you as you start building and, in fact, continue to develop fantastic networks over the next 15, 20 months. Who knows? So, so think about categories. Think about friendship. That's really where Facebook probably has the jump, if you like, on the other networks, because people do interact with their closest friends and family on Facebook. And obviously that's a double-edged sword if there's problems in any of those areas of your life. But in general, Facebook can be a great place to just have quick interactions using the Messenger chat service to just quickly interact with people and get a sense for where they are, what they're up to, and if there's anything right now that you can do to help, that's great. Or if it's just about interacting and sharing a joke and just being there sometimes is what friends really do for each other effortlessly. So so that's one of the greatest things about Facebook. The other thing is think about moving conversations offline, especially with people that, you know, are introduced into your networks on Facebook that you haven't maybe met. If it's possible, move them onto Skype or Google Hangout or anywhere where you can have a face-to-face conversation, and even better if that could be done live, and, you know, cement some great relationships and build your network both online and offline. Same rules apply as LinkedIn. Get a great profile pic, throw up a few things in terms of your interests and hobbies and activities that give people a sense of your values and the things that really are important to you, and you won't go far wrong. Be authentic, be yourself. That's all I would add to that. Google Plus I talk in the book about Google Plus being a bit like a gym membership. You know, everybody seems to be on Google Plus, but nobody uses it. And certainly that was the case up until about 6 to 10 months ago. And all of a sudden, it's shot up in terms of popularity. I think there are still people who are reluctant to use it, and whether that will undermine it over time, I don't know. All I know is right now, it's a great tool for small business and small business networking. Why is that? Well, because of its relationship to Google search, to YouTube, and to just basically the fact that you can very simply put people into circles. You can post photos and images that get shared and get added to your Google search profile immediately. YouTube is owned by Google. So that's why, if you noticed, most searches that you do on Google these days, within the window frame, you will be able to see any videos that are linked to that search. So if you're thinking about adding video as a component to your small business, then I would thoroughly recommend you getting them up on YouTube as well as your own website, because your search capability will shoot through the roof just from doing that. So Google Plus is a good business tool, even today, even without that sort of consistent usage that Facebook and LinkedIn see. So do consider it carefully as an aspect of your business that you might want to work with. Okay, let's move on to one of my favorite tools, which is Twitter. And what's fascinating about Twitter is that lots of people are dismissive of Twitter, primarily because they haven't really investigated it, but also because they see a lot of inane activity in their timeline. Now, personally, I hardly ever look at the timeline on Twitter anymore. What's great about Twitter is the lists function and also the hashtag and the @ function. So as long as you know the @ the hashtag and the list function, then you've got everything you need to use what is probably the most powerful online networking tool in your bag. And why is that? Because quite simply, you can contact anyone on Twitter and the message will probably get through. So let's say I don't know you, but I'd like to get to know you for one reason or another. I can literally just put your @ name, your Twitter handle, if you like, into my tweet, and you will see it. It will appear in your timeline. Interestingly, people who do any searching for you in that short time frame will also see the same message. They'll see my message to you in the same time frame. So it's a direct conversational tool. You don't need to join groups. You don't need to sign up and register for activities and events. You literally can just join in any conversation at any time. And the hashtag is really powerful in that context. So if you want to join in any conversation, you literally just put in the hashtag that denotes the title of that conversation. So the example I use in the book is hashtag London 2012, which was used throughout the last London Olympics. So if you wanted to find out anything that anybody was saying about the London Olympics, you literally could just, in the search box, you could put hashtag London 2012 and see every single tweet that had that hashtag in it. Now, so that's how you can see what other people are talking about. But of course, you can join in exactly the same conversation by just adding hashtag London 2012 to your message. Sounds simple? It is. It is literally as simple as that. So you can set up your own conversations and invite people to come and join in on that. So very recently, I've joined in a conversation called hashtag Clout70, which is about a group of people that are coming together to support each other in helping them extend their influence on Twitter and expand their credibility, if you like, through social media. So a great supportive group And by just putting hashtag Clout70, we're able to interact with each other and share tips and ideas. So if you're out there and you want to secretly join in that conversation and hear what some of these experts are saying, then just put in hashtag Clout70 and you'll find out all about it. Anyway, so that's literally the most powerful aspect of Twitter. You can contact anyone, but think about it from their perspective, as we always do here on the Networking Not Working. How can you help others on Twitter? Well, the very best thing you can do to help them is have a great profile with links in it, direct links, so they can go to wherever you anticipate they would like to go, having read your profile. Don't bother giving them email addresses. Don't bother giving them, snippets of information that they can go away and do a Google search on you. People don't have time for that. Twitter, by its very nature, it's 140 characters in the tweet conversations. When they come to your profile, they have that quick mindset. So it's a link to your website if you think that's where they might be interested in going. It's a link to your most popular blog article if you think that's what might interest them. It's a link to your webinar series like this one if you think that will be of most use to them. So give people links, give them a great profile shot, because that's going to appear in every single timeline, and make it really easy for people to connect with you, just so that you can also connect with them and support them if they need it. So I think that's all I wanted to say. Let me see if there's anything else here about yes, the last thing on Twitter is it really is about building easy relationships. It's a great chat atmosphere, so the more people that you engage with, and the more opportunities you're going to have to just build those relationships where those individuals get to know you over time, as opposed to get to know your online profiles or your website version of you. So just engage there in chat, and make those chats public, because the reality is, whilst not everybody's going to be really interested in those chats, if somebody does stumble upon your profile and sees that you've been engaged in a conversation about, let's say, SEO, search engine optimization, and you're just having a chat with somebody about it, you're effectively demonstrating your expertise. So it's a little bit like somebody joining you at a live event and you're just finishing off a conversation. So think of Twitter as that sort of live interaction, because the reality is most people aren't tuning into your conversations, but still have those conversations in the live area, because people will drop in and they will then get a sense of what it is that you're an expert in, or what it is that interests you and gives you that energy in life, if you like. So yeah, don't be afraid to have those conversations in a live window, because although they stick around and yes, people can go back to them, if you're just being you're being authentic, you're not being offensive, and you're just being as helpful as you possibly can, or you're just enjoying yourself, then why would you want to hide that from the world? As I said, people aren't necessarily out there for all what they're looking for, people that they would like and want to connect with and want to chat with themselves, because that's where your networks start and where they continue, and of course where they end. So so that's really a plea really to people to not be too concerned about who's listening, in inverted commas, to their conversation. It's no different to somebody joining you at a live event. Okay, one quick thing, don't forget email in this process. It's still a great tool. In fact, if anything, it will help your message stand out if you're, and it can be really personal. So email is still a great online tool for building and maintaining relationships. Okay, I want to just finish off with an insight, if you like, as to where we're going next with this conversation. So next week is all about building your reputation online. But I just want to build a bridge to that, which is to highlight that if we meet somebody online, what we're trying to think about is there an opportunity to extend that conversation and follow up offline so that we can meet them and then start to form that sort of closer relationship. If we meet somebody offline, we're thinking about all of these tools as being the best way to follow up immediately and bring them into your online community. Sounds simple. Lots of people don't do it. Think about that bridge between your offline and your online connections. You can do so much for people by being connected to them online and supporting them with articles and information and connections and everything else, that it really makes sense to have relationships with the same people online and offline and just consider them as just different rooms in which you're having the conversations. Okay, I hope that's been helpful. Send me any questions this week about how you're going to go about building your reputation online, and we'll come back together next week and talk about that. Have a great week. Cheers.